First contact, the Harmony expedition. The starship Harmony glided silently through the vast emptiness of space, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. After 5 years of travel at near-light speed, they had finally arrived at their destination, Proxima Centauri b, the closest potentially habitable exoplanet to Earth. Status report, Elena commanded, her voice steady despite the excitement coursing through her veins. Dr. Alexei Volkov, the mission's lead scientist, responded without looking up from his console. All systems nominal, Captain. We're detecting significant atmospheric composition similar to Earth's. There are also signs of liquid water on the surface. Elena nodded, a small smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. Excellent. Prepare for orbital insertion. Let's get a closer look at our new neighbor. As the Harmony settled into a stable orbit around Proxima Centauri, the crew worked tirelessly to gather data and analyze the planet below. Days passed in a flurry of activity, each new discovery bringing them closer to the ultimate question: could this world support human life? On the 5th day of their orbital observations, everything changed. Captain, Lieutenant Sarah Chen's voice crackled over the intercom, tension evident in her tone. We're detecting an artificial structure on the planet's surface. Elena's heart raced as she rushed to the observation deck. The rest of the senior staff joined her, their faces a mix of excitement and apprehension. On the large view screen before them, a sprawling metropolis came into focus, its architecture unlike anything they had ever seen on Earth. "My God," Dr. Volkov whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. "We're not alone." The discovery of an alien civilization sent shockwaves through the Harmony's crew. Debates raged about how to proceed, with some advocating for immediate contact while others urged caution. In the end, Elena made the decision that would change the course of human history. "We came here to explore and to learn," she announced to her assembled crew. "We have a unique opportunity to make first contact with an alien species. We will proceed with caution, but we will not shy away from this moment." Over the next few days, the Harmony's linguists and communication experts worked around the clock to decipher the alien transmissions they had begun to detect. Progress was slow at first, but breakthroughs came in rapid succession as they unraveled the complex language of their newfound neighbors. Finally, after a week of intense preparation, Elena stood before the ship's main communication array, ready to broadcast humanity's first message to an alien civilization. "This is Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth starship Harmony," she began, her voice clear and confident. "We come in peace, seeking knowledge and friendship. We request permission to land and meet with your leaders." The response came faster than anyone had anticipated. A melodious voice, speaking in carefully constructed English, filled the bridge. "Greetings, Captain Rodriguez and the people of Earth. We are the Lissari, and we welcome you to our world. We have long wondered if we were alone in the universe, and your arrival fills us with joy. You may land at the coordinates we are transmitting. We eagerly await our first face-to-face meeting." The landing party, led by Elena and Dr. Volkov, descended to the planet's surface in a sleek shuttle. As they touched down in a vast plaza surrounded by towering spires of crystal and metal, Elena felt a sense of awe unlike anything she had ever experienced. The Lissari, it turned out, were a species of bioluminescent, six-limbed beings with an advanced civilization built on principles of harmony with their environment. Their leader, Prime Consigliere Zenla, greeted the humans with a gesture that seemed to radiate warmth and welcome. "We have much to learn from each other," Zenla said, their voice a soothing melody. "Your journey across the stars speaks to your species' courage and determination. We are honored to be the first to welcome humanity to the galactic community." Over the next few weeks, humans and Lissari engaged in a whirlwind of cultural exchange. The Harmony's crew marveled at Lissari technology, which seemed to blend seamlessly with the natural world. In turn, the Lissari were fascinated by human art, music, and the diversity of Earth's cultures. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Misunderstandings arose as the two species navigated their differences. The Lizari's collective decision-making process often frustrated the more individualistic humans, while the Lizari struggled to comprehend humanity's complex history of conflict and division. Despite these challenges, both sides remained committed to building a lasting friendship. As the days passed, Elena found herself forming a close bond with Zenla, the two leaders often engaging in long conversations about the nature of their respective societies. It was during one such conversation that Zenla's demeanor suddenly changed, their bioluminescence dimming with concern. "Captain Rodriguez," Zenla said, their voice uncharacteristically grave, "there is something we must share with you. A threat that we have long feared, one that now endangers both our peoples." Elena leaned forward, her brow furrowed. "What kind of threat?" Zenla activated a holographic display, showing a vast swarm of machine-like entities moving through space. "We call them the Harvesters. They are an ancient, artificial intelligence that travels from galaxy to galaxy, consuming all organic life and resources in their path. Our long-range sensors have detected their approach to this sector of space." Elena felt a chill run down her spine as she watched the holographic harvesters devour entire planets. "How long do we have?" "Less than a planetary cycle," Zenla replied solemnly. "Perhaps what you would call a year. We have technology that may help us defend ourselves, but we lack the tactical experience to use it effectively. Your species, with its history of overcoming adversity, may be the key to our survival." Elena stood, her mind racing with the implications of this revelation. She thought of Earth, blissfully unaware of the danger heading its way, and of the newfound friendship between humans and Lizari. In that moment, she knew that the true purpose of the Harmony expedition had just become clear. "Zenla," Elena said, her voice filled with determination, "humanity has faced extinction-level threats before, and we've always found a way to survive. We'll face this threat together, and together, we'll find a way to stop these harvesters." As Elena left to inform her crew of the impending danger, she couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and exhilaration. The Harmony expedition had set out to explore a new world, but now they found themselves on the front lines of a battle for the very survival of organic life in the galaxy. The alliance between humans and Lizari was about to be tested in ways neither species could have imagined. But as Elena looked back at the shimmering Lizari city, she felt a surge of hope. Two civilizations, born under different suns, were about to stand together against the darkness, and in that unity, she believed, they would find the strength to prevail. The galactic menace emerges. As news of the Harvester threat spread through the Harmony's crew, a palpable tension settled over the human expedition. Captain Elena Rodriguez wasted no time in organizing joint strategy sessions with the Lizari leadership, determined to forge a plan that would give both species a fighting chance against the impending invasion. Dr. Alexei Volkov found himself working closely with Lizari scientists, poring over data about the harvesters and their previous encounters with other civilizations. "It's fascinating," he mused to Elena during a brief break. "The harvesters seem to adapt their tactics for each new species they encounter. They're learning, evolving with each conquest." Elena frowned, the implications troubling her. "Then we'll need to be unpredictable, come up with strategies they haven't seen before." Lieutenant Sara Chen, the Harmony's tactical officer, spent long hours with Lizari military advisors, studying their defensive capabilities. The Lizari possessed energy shield technology far beyond anything humans had developed, but their offensive capabilities were limited. "They're a peaceful species," Sara explained during a senior staff meeting. "Their weapons are designed for asteroid deflection and space debris removal. Effective, but not built for war." As days turned into weeks, the collaborative efforts between humans and Lizari intensified. The Harmony's engineering team, led by Chief Engineer Raj Potel, worked tirelessly to integrate human weapon designs with Lizari energy systems. The result was a new class of hybrid weaponry that packed a punch neither species could have achieved alone. But it wasn't just military preparations that occupied their time. Cultural exchange continued, with both sides recognizing the need to understand each other better if they were to work together effectively. Humans learned Lizari meditation techniques to enhance mental focus, while the Lizari were introduced to human sports as a way to improve physical coordination and teamwork. One evening, as Elena watched a group of her crew playing soccer with some young Lizari, she felt a tap on her shoulder. It was Zenla, their bioluminescence pulsing with a mix of emotions Elena had learned to recognize as curiosity and concern. "Your people are remarkably adaptable," Elena said, using the captain's first name as had become their custom. "In the face of such danger, they still find time for play." Helena smiled, understanding the unasked question. "It's how we cope, Zenla. Laughter, games, they remind us of what we're fighting for. It keeps us human." Zenla's outer limbs rippled in what Elena now knew was their equivalent of a nod. Perhaps there is wisdom in this approach. We Lizari have always sought inner peace through contemplation, but I see now that there are many paths to strength. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the Harmony's bridge. "Captain, we're detecting an anomaly at the edge of the system." Lieutenant Chen's voice crackled over the comm. Elena and Zenla rushed to the Lizari command center, where a holographic display showed a swirling vortex of energy forming near the system's outermost planet. "It's some kind of wormhole," Dr. Volkov explained, his fingers flying over a console as he analyzed the data. "And something's coming through." The assembled humans and Lizari watched in horror as a massive ship emerged from the vortex. It was like nothing they had ever seen, a twisted amalgamation of organic and mechanical parts, pulsing with an eerie, sickly light. "Harvester scout ship," Denla whispered, their bioluminescence dimming with fear. Before anyone could react, the Harvester ship launched a barrage of energy projectiles towards Proxima Centauri B. The Lizari planetary shields flared to life, barely deflecting the attack. "They're testing our defenses," Elena realized aloud. "This is just the beginning." Over the next few days, more Harvester ships arrived, forming a blockade around the planet. Each incursion pushed the Lizari shields to their limits, and it became clear that a full-scale invasion was imminent. In response, Elena made a difficult decision. "We need to call for reinforcements," she announced to her senior staff and the Lizari leadership. "The Harmony wasn't built for extended combat. We need Earth's help." The plan was risky. The Harmony would need to break through the Harvester blockade to send a message to Earth. Even at light speed, it would take years for help to arrive, but it was their best hope for long-term survival. As preparations for the breakout attempt were underway, disaster struck. A particularly vicious Harvester assault overwhelmed a section of the planetary shields, and a small force of biomechanical monstrosities landed on the surface. Elena found herself in the thick of the fight, coordinating defense efforts alongside Lizari security forces. The Harvesters were relentless, their grotesque forms seeming to repair themselves even as they took damage. Suddenly, a new voice joined the chorus of battle chatter. "Harmony, this is Zenla. We're moving to assist." Elena's eyes widened as she saw a swarm of Lizari ships rising from the planet's surface. They were smaller than the Harmony, but incredibly agile, weaving between the Harvester vessels with impossible grace. "Zenla, what are you doing?" Elena demanded. "Your ships aren't equipped for this kind of combat." "Perhaps not," came the calm reply, "but we will not stand idly by while you fight for our survival. We may not be warriors, but we are not cowards." The Lizari ships began emitting pulses of energy that seemed to confuse the Harvester's targeting systems. In the chaos, the Harmony found the opening it needed. "Full power to engines," Elena ordered. "Let's make this count." The starship surged forward, its hybrid weapons blazing a path through the weakened Harvester line. As they burst past the blockade into open space, Elena allowed herself a moment of exhilaration. "We made it," she breathed. Lieutenant Chen, prepare the long-range communication buoy. We need to get our message to Earth. As the buoy was launched, carrying with it a warning about the harvester threat and a plea for reinforcements, Elena turned her attention back to Proxima Centauri B. The Lissari ships were retreating, having suffered losses, but having proved their courage beyond doubt. Zenla, Elena said softly, thank you. We couldn't have done this without you. This is but the beginning, my friend, Zenla replied. Return to us safely. We have much work to do. The weeks that followed were a flurry of activity. With the immediate threat of the blockade broken, humans and Lissari threw themselves into preparing for the long war ahead. Raj Patel worked with Lissari engineers to upgrade their ship's defenses, incorporating the hybrid shield technology developed for the Harmony. Dr. Volkov and his Lissari counterparts delved deeper into understanding harvester biology, seeking ways to disrupt their adaptive abilities more permanently. Lieutenant Chen found herself giving impromptu combat training to Lissari volunteers, teaching them human military tactics and strategies. The Lissari, in turn, shared their unique perspectives on space combat, their innate understanding of three-dimensional maneuvering proving invaluable. But it was in the realm of leadership that the alliance truly began to shine. Elena and Zenla formed a joint command structure, combining human decisiveness with Lissari consensus building. Their complementary styles created a decision-making process that was both swift and deeply considered. One evening, as they were reviewing plans for a new defense grid, Zenla turned to Elena with an expression she had learned to read as thoughtful. Elena, the Lissari leader began, I must confess something. When your ship first arrived, some among us feared you might be a threat. Your history of conflict was concerning. Elena nodded, understanding. I can see why you think that. Humanity's past isn't always something we're proud of. Zenla's bioluminescence pulsed warmly, but now I see that it is precisely that history which makes you strong. You know struggle, you understand sacrifice. These are lessons we Lissari are only now beginning to learn. And we're learning from you too, Elena replied. Your harmony with your environment, your ability to work together without ego. These are things humanity has always strived for but rarely achieved. Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from the command center. Dr. Volkov's excited voice filled the room. Captain Conciliar, you need to see this, he exclaimed. We've made a breakthrough. Rushing to the lab, Elena and Zenla found Volkov and his team gathered around a holographic display showing a harvester bioship's internal structure. We've identified a central node in their neural network, Volkov explained, pointing to a pulsing spot in the creature's core. It's like a brain, but it's also the nexus of their adaptive capabilities. If we can target this, we could potentially disable their ability to evolve mid-battle. Elena finished, her mind racing with the possibilities. Zenla's outer limbs quivered with excitement. This could change everything. But how do we reach it? Our weapons can't penetrate that deep into their ships. A thoughtful silence fell over the group, broken moments later by Lieutenant Chen. What if we go inside, she suggested. A small team, using Lissari's stealth technology and our hybrid weapons. We could plant charges directly on the neural node. The idea was daring, bordering on insane. But as they discussed it further, a plan began to take shape. It would be incredibly risky, but if successful, it could turn the tide of the entire war. As the details were hammered out, Elena felt a surge of pride in her crew and their Lissari allies. In the face of an overwhelming threat, they had come together, combining their strengths and overcoming their differences to forge a truly formidable alliance. The next day, as volunteers were called for the dangerous mission, Elena was unsurprised to see both humans and Lissari stepping forward. Among them were Lieutenant Chen and a young Lissari named Kelix, who had distinguished himself in the recent battles. As Elena addressed the assembled team, she saw in their eyes a determination that transcended species. They were no longer simply humans and Lissari. They were defenders of life itself, united against the consuming darkness of the harvesters. What we're about to attempt has never been done before, Elena said, her voice carrying across the briefing room. But I believe in each and every one of you. Together, we will show the harvesters that life, in all its beautiful diversity, will not go quietly into the night. A cheer went up, a strange harmony of human voices and Lissari bioluminescent pulses. As Elena met Zenla's gaze across the room, she knew that whatever the outcome of this mission, they had already achieved something remarkable, a true alliance of two worlds forged in the crucible of adversity. The battle for survival continued, but now they faced it not as separate species, but as one united front, their combined strengths greater than the sum of their parts. The harvesters had awakened a force they could never have anticipated, and soon they would feel its full might. The final stand. The joint human Lissari strike team huddled in the cramped confines of a modified Lissari stealth shuttle, tension thick in the air as they approached the massive harvester mothership. Lieutenant Sarah Chen checked her hybrid weapon one last time, her eyes meeting those of Kelix, her Lissari counterpart. "Remember," Sarah whispered, "once we're inside, we'll only have a short window before their adaptive systems detect us. We move fast, we hit hard, and we get out." Kelix's bioluminescence pulsed in acknowledgement, a gesture Sarah had come to recognize as determination. The rest of the team, a mix of human specialists and Lissari volunteers, sat in focused silence, each mentally preparing for the dangerous mission ahead. Back on Proxima Centauri Bay, Captain Elena Rodriguez and Consilia Zenla monitored the operation from the Joint Command Center. The holographic display showed the strike team's shuttle as a tiny blip against the looming mass of the Harvester mothership. "They're approaching the entry point," Dr. Volkov reported, his fingers dancing across the control panel. "Lissari cloaking technology is holding. No sign of detection yet." Elena nodded, her jaw set. "Let's hope it stays that way. Zenla, are your people ready for Phase 2? The Lissari leader's outer limbs rippled in affirmation. "Our fleet stands ready to engage the moment the neural node is compromised. We will give the harvesters a battle they will not soon forget." As the strike team made their way through the eerily organic corridors of the harvester ship, Sarah couldn't shake a feeling of revulsion. The walls pulsed with an unsettling rhythm, and strange, fleshy appendages reached out as if trying to grab them. "Stay focused," she murmured to her team. "Remember your training. Don't let this place get in your head." They encountered surprisingly little resistance as they moved deeper into the ship. Sarah knew this was partly due to the effectiveness of their stealth technology, but she couldn't shake the feeling that it was too easy. Her suspicions were confirmed as they reached the central chamber housing the neural node. The massive, pulsating organ dominated the room, surrounded by a web of biomechanical interfaces. "It's a trap," Kelix hissed, his bioluminescence flickering with alarm. "They knew we were coming." As if on cue, harvester drones began pouring into the chamber from hidden recesses. The strike team found themselves surrounded, their backs against the neural node they had come to destroy. "Plan B," Sarah shouted, unclipping a specially designed explosive from her belt. "Cover me." The chamber erupted into chaos. Human and Lissari fought side by side, their hybrid weapons carving through the harvester drones. Sarah dove through the melee, Kelix at her side, fighting their way towards the heart of the neural node. Back in the command center, alarms blared as the situation unfolded. "They've been detected," Volkov exclaimed, his face pale with worry. Helena's mind raced, weighing their options. "Zenla, we need to launch the attack now. He's our only chance to give the strike team the distraction they need." The Lissari leader hesitated only a moment before nodding. "Agreed. May the stars guide them." Outside the Harvester mothership, the combined human Lissari fleet sprang into action. Hundreds of ships, from the nimble Lissari fighters to the powerfully armed human vessels, engaged the Harvester fleet in a dazzling display of coordinated warfare. Inside the mothership, Sarah and Kelix finally reached the core of the neural node. As Kelix provided covering fire, Sarah began planting the explosives, her hands steady despite the chaos around her. "Almost there," she grunted, attaching the last charge. "We just need tow." Her words were cut short as a harvester tendril lashed out, wrapping around her leg and pulling her away from the node. Kellex moved without hesitation, severing the tendril with a precise shot from his weapon. "Go," Sarah shouted, tossing the detonator to Kellex. "I'll hold them off." For a moment, the Lizari seemed torn. Then, with a pulse of bioluminescence that Sarah somehow knew meant both "thank you" and "farewell," Kellex activated the detonator. The explosion rocked the entire mothership. In the command center, Elena and Zenla watched in awe as the harvester fleet suddenly fell into disarray. "It worked," Volkov exclaimed. "Their adaptive capabilities are offline." Elena allowed herself a moment of relief before focusing on the task at hand. "All ships, press the advantage. Don't let up." The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human ingenuity and Lizari grace combined into a symphony of destruction, methodically dismantling the once invincible harvester fleet. Hours later, as the last harvester ship fell silent, a cheer went up across the human Lizari fleet. They had done the impossible. They had defeated the galactic menace that had terrorized countless civilizations. But the victory was bittersweet. As the rescue teams combed through the wreckage of the harvester mothership, they found no sign of Lieutenant Chen or most of the strike team. Only Kellex and 2 others had managed to escape in a life pod. In the aftermath of the battle, as humans and Lizari came together to mourn their losses and celebrate their victory, Elena found herself standing with Zenla, looking out over the scared but unbroken landscape of Proxima Centauri b. "We did it," Elena said softly, "but the cost." Zenla's limbs gently enveloped Elena in what she had come to recognize as a gesture of comfort. "They gave their lives so that countless others might live. There is no greater sacrifice, no greater honor." Elena nodded, her eyes misting. "What happens now?" "The harvesters are defeated, but there's still so much to do." Zenla's bioluminescence pulsed with warm, vibrant colors. "Now, my friend, we build. We take what we have learned from each other, the strength we have found in our differences, and we create something new. A true galactic community, founded on the principles of cooperation and mutual respect that defeated the harvesters." As if on cue, a communication alert chimed. It was a message from Earth. The reinforcements had arrived. Late for the battle, but just in time for the birth of a new era. Elena smiled, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The Harmony expedition had set out to explore new worlds, but they had found so much more. They had forged an alliance that had saved not just 2 species, but potentially all life in the galaxy. As she prepared to greet the arriving Earthships and introduce them to their new Lizari allies, Elena knew that the greatest adventure was just beginning. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and together with the Lizari, they would face whatever challenges the cosmos had in store. The harvesters had sought to consume and destroy, but in doing so, they had inadvertently created something beautiful, a lasting harmony between 2 distant children of the stars, united in their love of life and their determination to protect it. And as the first rays of Proxima Centauri crested the horizon, bathing the scene in a warm, hopeful light, Elena Rodriguez knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together, humans and Lizari, no longer separate species, but fellow travelers on the grandest journey of all.